Right, Pablo, we're back. Part
We're
two,
back.
let's go.
Shopping put away.
Shopping has been put away.
Forgot what we were talking about. I was talking about laser eye patch wolf or whatever.
Yeah.
And his terrible experience with Dell.
Del Taco. Free
Shivakadu. Yeah, I like long videos like that are just kind of about nothing. Just a personal experience that was terrible.
Just your happiness at other people's.
No, like it got solved at the end, and that's where like the relief comes in.
How's it solved?
He took the refund, just bought a different PC from someone else that does exactly what he needs. Perfectly fine.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Been watching Linus Tech Tips. He is a very, very wealthy man who's done very well for himself. Who used to work for a company called NCIX.
Okay.
That's just a computer parts store kind of thing.
Yeah.
He worked for them, worked in the back, got up to like management, and they were like, "Oh, this YouTube thing is taken off. Maybe we should have a YouTube channel." So he started a YouTube channel called NCIX Tech Tips. It pretty much took off really, really well. And then after a while, it was like, okay, I can do this on my own. It'll be easier to do this on my own. So he left, hired a few people, ran it for a while. He's done really well for himself. Like he's put the effort in. Like one of the video series he does now, it's sponsored by Intel, where they just give him $5,000 an episode to spend on one of his employees. Being like, all right, here's one of the editors. Here's $5,000. Upgrade your setup at home. Whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Whatever the fuck you want.
Okay.
It can be a desk. It can be a PC. It can be a TV. It can be whatever you want. Here's $5,000. Spend it.
Yep.
And he's done really well. Like, he has a house that he must have doubled the value of with the amount of stuff he's put in.
Okay.
Like, he's just had new air conditioning put in. So it's like each room has its own air conditioning vent. Every room, he's got Wi-Fi extenders in every other room.
Yeah.
He's got 2 electric car charging things in his garage. Full, and I mean, he's even got like a Wi-Fi extender on the back of his house for the garden.
Yeah.
Security system throughout everything. It's all run through a thing called Home Assistant. That is like a super in-depth website or app where it's like, okay, I want to check this camera and I want to turn the air conditioning on in there. I'm going to be home soon, so I want the garage door to open. It unifies everything. It can be run through your Amazon thing.
Do you know... sorry, go on.
No, go on.
I was going to say, do you know who Shaq is?
Like Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, the basketball
Yeah.
player. What's the... You'll have seen the adverts on TV with like the doorbell and it's got a camera in.
Ring. Yeah.
He initially invested in that and like bought the majority of the company. After it, I think he was after getting security on his home.
Yeah.
And he got a quote off someone like, yeah, it's $80,000. You're like, yeah, I'm not spending $80,000. That's ridiculous.
Even though that is, practically nothing to that man, but
yeah,
I get it.
And then he went somewhere else, and when they went, oh yeah, we'll do it for 65. And they were like, yeah, I'm not paying that much. This is ridiculous. And it wasn't on like a ridiculously big house, from what he was saying. It was just like a normal house that he'd moved into. He was like, I've paid ridiculous money for the big houses that I've had before. I'm not paying that sort of money for just a normal like family size home that I now live in.
Yeah.
And he saw Ring in one of the American shops over there and just installed it himself.
Yep. No, it was really convenient.
Yeah, he said this does a lot more than the security that I paid like tens of thousands of pounds for. So he ended up investing heavily in it, buying big parts of the company. He did the adverts for them over in America, and then sold the company to Amazon for £1 billion.
Yep.
Alright, fair enough.
One thing about Linus is he hates systems where you have to pay a monthly fee. So, like, big security systems. It's like, oh yeah, it'll take like $5,000 to install it, but then you also have to pay like $70 a month.
Yeah. And
he's like, no, that's stupid. And in the house he had a really old garage door system.
Yeah.
Like a really old one, like built in the 70s, still worked, and he wanted to automate it. Because he had a system where he had like a clicker in his car so it'd open the gate.
Yeah.
But it had like started to fail if the weather was bad or whatever. He was like, oh, I want to be able to do it from my phone.
Makes sense.
But all the automated garage door systems are really expensive. And you've got to pay like $10 a month. And he was like, no, I have bought this thing. I want it to work. I don't want to have to pay a monthly fee. That's ridiculous. So he automated it himself. And it was fine. It worked. Up until like it's just a little like PCB that you plug wires into, and then it's got a Wi-Fi receiver. So you go, okay, I am sending a Wi-Fi signal to this. I want this button to be clicked, essentially.
Yeah.
But the little PCB is really stupid because, like, if you change your Wi-Fi, the thing doesn't work anymore. Because to factory reset it, you have to do it via Wi-Fi. So then all of a sudden, if there's no Wi-Fi connection, because you've changed Wi-Fi, you can't do a factory reset to set up the new Wi-Fi. But yeah, in his new house that he's just bought, that he's doing all the same stuff to, I really like the way it works. It makes sense. It's a lot nicer. But in America, the way heating works is they tend not to have radiators. They have air vents.
Yeah.
Like just a little vent in the corner of the floor, pumps hot air through, warms the room. His doesn't have that. His has underfloor heating in every room.
Yeah.
Which makes it's a lot more efficient as well. Like the air heating, radiators are pretty efficient because it's hot water being blasted through. It radiates the heat. That's how it works.
Yeah.
The air vents, because it's air, it's just not as efficient. Because you're having to heat the air as opposed to heating water, which then radiates.
Yeah.
But the underfloor heating just makes sense. So he's like, he wants just units on the wall because he's like, yeah, you can't just set the house to one temperature. Kids like different temperature to us. I like different temperature in certain rooms. The computer room's going to need a lower temperature overall anyway. So it needs to be super separated. So he's just gone through his entire house and teching the fuck out of it. Being like, okay, well, because you can pay for like these automated systems where, all right, there's the thing, it controls your heating and your air conditioning and your whatever.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, I don't want to pay the monthly fee. It's ridiculous. I shouldn't have to pay a monthly fee for something I bought. Like, I know it's a service that I've bought, but it's installed and it's done. And the other thing he doesn't like is when there's a cloud service. Like, where technically you can be anywhere in the world and send a signal that then goes to a cloud that then goes to your house and does the actual thing. And he's like, if that service is down, I don't want to not be able to control my air conditioning. It's stupid. So he's bought his own, like, the tubes that they use for air conditioning, it's just a circular tube, and the way they turn off, it's just a little paddle that turns and closes.
Yeah.
He's like, so he just bought those himself to wire himself, and he's just got like a little Raspberry Pi that's like, okay, well, when it gets this signal, it turns it closed, and it turns this signal, it turns it on, blah, 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 blah. It's interesting, because it's like very, very, very high-end, this is the capacity for an automated house, an automated comfort, whatever. But it just costs so much money. Like, he's doing it for cheaper, like, when he wanted air conditioning in his old house, because he just bought a new one. That's what I was getting at. He's very well off.
Yeah.
Very, very well off. He's bought a new house because his kids are like, yeah, we would like our own rooms. Because 2 of his kids share a room at the minute. It's a big room, but they're like, yeah, we want our own rooms. And he's like, yeah, no, that's completely fair. Like, they're growing up now. They're getting to the age of, like, 10, and it's fairly reasonable. But, like, the one thing that he has that I would like, I think I've mentioned it before, where he doesn't have a PC in every room he needs a PC in. He's got a server rack upstairs.
Yeah.
Like, it's a server rack with dedicated, like, a few GPUs in it.
Yeah.
And then it's partitioned off into virtual machines. So, and, like, if he has a monitor in a room, it's got a keyboard and mouse and then a USB hub.
Yeah.
You can go to any of those in the house and log into your PC.
Yeah.
And it's sorted. And, ideally for me and Becca, like, we would like a room each for craft stuff and doing whatever. We'll have the living room and the garage as well. Maybe we'd want something, and maybe even the kitchen, just like a little touchscreen monitor in the kitchen for music and videos. Like if you're watching a live stream or whatever, or a recipe video, just having a TV in the kitchen is convenient. And just a touchscreen one, so you don't even have to have a mouse and keyboard set up. It'd be handy, and the easiest way to do that would be a server.
Yeah.
It's either that, or you have a PC in every room that you want a PC in, and then like a tablet in the kitchen, which isn't the worst idea, but
it's not ideal.
No, and like, whereas for a decent PC, like mine cost just shy of $1,000.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, it should have been 800. My mum got a discount, which took it down to like 600, and then I got money for Christmas, and I paid it off. So. Yeah. That's an 800 quid PC. It will run anything that is out right now decent. It won't get the maximum FPS, but it'll run it perfectly fine. But if I wanted one of them in every room, that's expensive, whereas you can do a server and partition it off for somewhere, I think I've worked it out as like somewhere around $3,000.
Okay.
Which isn't cheap by any means, but it's doable.
Yeah.
And especially if you think, like, me and Becca tend to be in the same room at the same time. The only time we're in different rooms is, like, she's in bed and I'm down here.
Yeah.
But if we're doing our own stuff when we do get a house, and say she's in her own crafts room doing stuff and I'm down here, she can be using a PC upstairs, I can be using PC down here. And then if kids or whatever happened, or we have a guest over and they're making something to eat, they can be listening to something in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like, it's all very doable.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then, like, because I like Minecraft well enough, but you can also just get, like, another server that's kind of blank. But if I ever wanted to have a Minecraft server or anything, you just load the stuff up and have it running.
Yeah.
And you can have multiple servers with different stuff on the same server, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Partition it off for different things.
Yeah. So that's like end goals for stuff that I would like for a house. Would be, yeah, I don't want to have a PC in a room. Because preferably, I want all the PCs off in a room where I can't hear it. And then it's just nice and quiet in any room that you're in.
Yeah.
But you've just got the cabling down to wherever and it's fine.
Yeah, you've got the cabling running through the walls or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
especially with like a Thunderbolt now, because Thunderbolt supplies a good amount of power and data transfer, because it's just essentially a really high-end USB-C cable. You just have one of those to a USB hub. You can get your mouse and keyboard and you plug in a USB headset or whatever into it and you're fine.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah. But the other option, which wouldn't be as good, but you can get a Raspberry Pi that essentially, like, I've got a piece of software on here, I'll show you. Where is it? I might have actually uninstalled it. I think it's called Rainway. It's essentially just a PC streaming service. So I can go on my PC, on my phone, anywhere.
Yeah.
It's specifically designed for games. So like, I could connect an Xbox controller to my phone and load up a game on my PC, all the processing is done on the PC, and then it just streams the input and output back and forth to the phone.
Yeah.
But you can use it for the whole PC. Another option would be, because we tend to only be in the same room at the same time, would be just get, because they're only like £100, if that. Because they're a full PC with Windows on them, but they just have fuck all memory and stuff. Like, they're not fast in and of themselves, but if you're streaming to it, it's fine, because that's doing the processing as opposed to the actual tiny PC.
Yeah.
So the other option would be just have a PC in the loft and then stream it to wherever you happen to be at any given time, because if you're on the same Wi-Fi, the delay is going to be minimal. But if, like, I'm out and about on my phone's internet, the delay's not going to be terrible, but it's not going to be great.
Which hopefully should get better over the next couple of years anyway, because of 5G.
The difference is Wi-Fi can be just as fast as Ethernet. It'll be slightly slower, obviously, but it can be nigh on as fast. But it's it's called packet loss, where, say, for example, you're on a wired connection and the only thing the server is checking is how many times you've clicked W. On a wired connection, it's not going to miss anything because it's a wired connection. If it misses something, it's because the internet has gone down for however long.
Yeah.
On Wi-Fi, it's not as stable. So if I've clicked W 100 times on a PC within the space of 30 seconds, it's going to pick up pretty much every single one. If I do that on my phone or something, or a laptop connected to the Wi-Fi, it might miss a few. Yeah. That's where the issue comes in with wireless as opposed to wired connection. Like, it's not a speed thing, it is just a stability thing.
Yeah. And
that's why fighting game tournaments are really aggressive on, nope, if you're not connected via Ethernet, you're not playing.
Makes sense.
It's not necessarily the speed, because speed-wise, you don't need the highest speed to be getting a really good connection. It is just the stability.
Yeah. How fast is 5G supposed to be?
I'm not sure. Like, I imagine up to 100, maybe?
Because I know they've started implemented it into big cities and stuff now. Like, I think Manchester's got it, and maybe Leeds.
10 gigabit.
Up to 10 gigabit?
Yep, up to 10 gigabit. Which is 20 times faster than 4G, apparently.
That is rapid. That's the, like, there's... Like, I went to Blackburn, were playing midweek. They were playing Leeds, so, you know, I messaged, like, Liam about it and stuff. There wasn't that many extra people there. There were, like... I think it was about 8,500, 9,000 extra people there, like, in the stadium. Could I get the fucking internet? Could I fuck?
That's not a speed thing, that's a bandwidth thing.
Yeah, but it's only, if you think about it, like, where you want to be, but Ewood, the actual football stadium, it's the area that it's in, it's surrounded by fucking houses and stuff.
Yeah, so that's something, like, using your phone internet at home, generally not an issue. Partially because a lot of people are going to be using the home internet, but also, between fucking transmitters, you're going to have, what, at most 10,000 people. In a high density city, you're going to have, like, 10,000 people, maybe. That's at a heavy push, especially here.
Yeah.
But then, all of a sudden, you've got a transmitter that is used to having 10,000 people use it.
Yep.
Now you've got nearly 20.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason that you can't text anyone at New Year's at midnight.
Yeah.
Too much going through.
So, hopefully, with 5G, that should kind of help.
It's only if they increase the bandwidth.
Yeah. But I don't get why they haven't done that at football stadiums anyway.
When I upgraded my phone not last time, the time before. I went on to a OnePlus. I wanted the 5G. It's one of those things that is really funny, and you can tell when they do it. Because I was initially talking about going for the 5G one.
Yep.
And he was like, oh, yeah, it's really good because you get all this, this, and this. And then I was like, oh, but I want the OnePlus with the pop-up camera, and I want it on 5G. And he was like, oh, well, that one would be like 90 quid a month. And I was like, oh, I can't afford that.
Yeah.
He just switched and was like, oh, yeah, well, you don't need the 5G right now because it's not everywhere. We don't have it in Preston properly now. They're only going to be using it for like football stadiums and music events and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you've tried to sell me on it and I was fully in, and now you're trying to convince me that I don't need it, so I'm getting a phone today, aren't you? Right. Because when 5G first came out, they were like, okay, well, we're going to put it in football stadiums where you tend not to be able to get good signal. We're going to put it in music events so you can live stream stuff and actually use it properly, blah, 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 blah. It was it's a funny one.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's a good way of rolling it out, but it doesn't help the average person all that much.
No.
It's a good way of rolling it out. Like, yeah, we're going to put it in high-density cities and places where a lot of people use the internet all at the same time. Yeah, sure, that makes sense, but that doesn't help me because I don't go to those places, like, more than once a year.
Yeah. But I would have thought that they would have had it rolled out more by now.
But I get 5G most places here. I get it on my walk to work for the most part.
Yeah.
Right here, I don't. Right here, right now.
Because I'm with O2.
I'm with EE.
That's probably why.
Yeah, so right here, I don't. If I walk down to Moore Park, as soon as I hit like that crossing,
yeah,
I get it. I get it most of the way on the walk to work, and then I'm pretty sure they've probably got a transmitter up by the hospital.
Yeah.
Because I get it there as well. I tend to get it while I'm at work.
Yeah. I got it in Blackburn Town Centre with O2. Oh, like, that's random. Considering I can't get it anywhere in Preston. That's O2 for you. Hopefully over the next couple of years, O2 pull the finger out and get 5G sorted out in Preston.
Yeah. I've only ever been with technically EE.
I've always been with O2.
Because I flipped between like Orange and T-Mobile on and off. And then they both became EE. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a very strange time, and I think I confused the guy when I first went in, but when I got my first phone contract for myself,
yeah,
I walked in, went, I would like that phone. And he went, oh, okay, no problem. Did the whole credit check thing. He was like it is going to be £400 deposit, like, for the phone. I was like, yeah, no problem. Because I had the well-paying job at the time. I was on, like, 25 grand a year. I was like, yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go for that. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, funny.
Oh, yeah, I think, because the tariff that I'm on, pay like 10 quid extra a month, but I can upgrade every year.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 10 quid extra a month. I get a few like goodie bag things, like I can get BT Sport for free, or I can get stuff like that.
Yeah.
You get to pick a free thing, and I can upgrade once a year as opposed to once every 2 years. Has to be same amount or more a month.
Yeah.
But I can upgrade once a year.
That's fine.
And my phone, because of how much I use it and where I work and how I charge it, my phone tends to start shitting the bed a year and a half in anyway. So being able to go, yep, trade in my phone and get a new one. Like, I think I'm getting there. I think it's September that I'm able to. Let's have a look. Because I might get a Note this time, because I like a big phone. I like a big phone screen.
Well, mine's a big one.
Yeah.
Mine's the Pro Max. 4 Pro Max.
Bills und payments.
Because we were talking about it, we're like, why have you got a Pro Max? You don't really take that many photos. I'm like, it's more to do with the battery.
Yeah. I like a decent battery. With mine, when I first got it, it was perfectly fine all day, but now I've had it for nearly a year. It tends to be, if I'm actively using it at work, if it's a quiet day, I'll get home and have to plug it in before bed. Like, I'll plug it in for half an hour and that'll get me through the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, you can read the title, and it's on the screen as well.
But yeah, it's helpful because they've not really added too much to the iPhone since the XS that I have.
Yeah.
It's just like little features that you won't really notice.
Yeah. I think with iPhone, it tends to be stuff in the background. Like with Android, when they release a new version, it's normally, oh, hey, we have added this feature, and this feature that are actually fairly significant.
Yeah.
Like, one thing that's really good in the new version of Android that I haven't got yet is notification history. Because I don't know if you ever have, but have you ever got a notification, accidentally swiped it off? No idea what the fuck it was. I have no idea what that notification was, and I can't go back and check.
Yeah.
And now the app isn't highlighted because I've got rid of the notification. It's not trying to alert me that there's something there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But they've added notification history, which is fantastic. I love that idea. Because the amount of times I've accidentally swiped something off and gone, shit, what was that? Was it something important?
Yeah.
Is it in regards to my shipment? Is my Amazon order nearly here? Is it this? Is it that?
Yeah. I've never really had a Samsung. My dad had one a few years ago. I didn't like it.
Samsung, it's just I struggle to use an iPhone because it doesn't have the buttons at the bottom. It doesn't have the back button, and I love the back button. I'm so very used to it.
Yeah.
But on the iPhone, like, if from experience, when I've just held my mum's and she's asked me to help her with something, it's like, alright, home button is to go back to the home screen, but it also does a load of other stuff, and you've got to double click it or long click it or whatever the fuck.
They've got rid of that button now.
Oh yeah, no fucking buttons. But then if I want to go back, I've got to lift my hand all the way to the top left corner to go back a page, whereas on mine it's right there. It's right where my thumb rests.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. No, the odd time that I've used Samsung, I'm like, no, this isn't for me. Stick with the iPhone.
Yeah, no, it's perfectly fine. Like, Apple are not a good company. They are scummy and they're assholes, but they make good stuff. It's just not stuff for me.
I think most big companies are like that.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Like we've talked about Amazon before.
Oh, yeah, Amazon's fucking awful. Like, Tesla as well, they're not, like, it's a company with a nice premise, but they're not a good business. Like, when you are threatening people's jobs because they're trying to unionize, you know you're not a good business.
Yeah. Like I said, Amazon are in the same position as well, aren't they? They don't want people to join a fucking union.
Nope. Because the losses that they would take if just even 10% of Amazon workers went on strike. Yeah. They would lose, must be billions.
Possibly, yeah.
And then warehouses get very quickly overstocked because you've already ordered stuff to come in, stuff is being delivered, stuff doesn't go out, warehouse overstocked, you've got nowhere to... I honestly think it would only take 2% of warehouse workers to just go on strike for less than a day.
Yeah.
And it would cripple Amazon for weeks.
Probably, yeah.
That's why Amazon don't want a union. But if your business is operating so scummily that a union is threatening your business model, you're not a good business.
Yeah. It's a weird one, isn't it?
Awful. I weirdly think I'd enjoy working in like an Amazon warehouse.
Reckon?
Because it's like it's just you've just got your little data pad thing that's like, take this box, go. It gives you directions where to go, and then pick stuff up and take it to another place. And I like not having to think.
You also like timed on it as well and all that sort of
Yeah, I
crap,
know,
don't you?
but I don't mind that. I'm used to like mentally timing myself on stuff.
Yeah.
Like in the job that I'm in, it's strange because like I went from working with a team, which if I don't put my absolute 100% in, it'll still be fine because there's 3 of us.
Yeah.
Whereas now, if I'm in work, I'm basically on my own in the kitchen.
And you don't.
If I'm not putting 100% in, things start to slow down or things pile up, and then I've got to do it myself anyway.
Yeah.
So it's much easier just to crack on, do everything as well as I can, as soon as I can, rather than letting things slip. It's just being self-reliant as opposed to, like, oh, I forgot to do blank. Right,
Yeah.
it wasn't done then. But at the plungy, if I didn't do something, somebody else probably caught it and did it. It's just that I didn't do it.
Yeah. But it's like that working at my place,
Yeah.
isn't it?
But it's hard to feel like you have any kind of input when... I know if you have a sick day and then you come in and then they make you do a return to work and it's like, oh, do you know the impact you've had on the business by not coming in? Oh yeah, everybody else had to do a fraction of my day's work to cover what I was doing.
Yeah, everyone took half of the agents took one more call.
Yeah, whereas even if it's like the ferret, before Matos worked there, it was 2 guys.
Yep.
2 guys worked there 5 days a week or 6 days a week. So one of them had Tuesday off, one of them had Wednesday off, and they worked the other 3 days together or 4 days together.
Yeah.
If one person has a day off, it means the other person's having to work 6 days. If you have the week off, the other person has to cover it, and it's going to be a really shit weekend because you're the only person in there. Like, you have a dramatic effect because there's only one other person to pick it up. When I'm in work, I don't have that because I'm the only person there.
Yeah.
If I don't do something, it means I have to do it later.
Yeah.
If I forget to order something, I'm the only one that can be held accountable. There's no shared blame. In your work, if things are queuing, you don't blame yourself for it. It's a team effort.
Yeah.
If calls are queuing, it's because calls are queuing. There's no input that anybody could have had to make that easier. It's just how it is.
Yeah. I think the only sort of stuff that I can be kind of held accountable to is the back office stuff.
Yeah.
But even then, I've got that shared with someone else.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad. So, Bob Burnham.
Yes, Bo Burnham's Inside. The only reason I bring it up is because, and you were saying earlier before we started, but like I don't really like Bo Burnham as a whole. In general, I think he's fine. He's had a few songs that I fairly enjoy, but as a whole, I'm not a big fan. Whereas Inside, I really enjoyed. And I think in general, it just, like, I know it's part of the character, but when it's part of the character so much, it isn't. It's just him. He is incredibly narcissistic. And he sings about it, he jokes about it, but he is. He is very narcissistic, he knows he's very good, and he shows off about it. But he does sing about it, he's like, oh yeah, do you remember that kid at the party that was an absolute dipshit? Absolute arsehole, attention-grabbing little shit. But then grows up to be like an actor or a comedian. That's him. He knows that's who he is. But then, in Inside, he's like a little bit... like he's showing the flaws. Yeah. It just makes him way more likeable to me, because I'm like, yeah, I don't care about the person who shows off that they're amazing at what they do. There's no humbleness to it. But then, in Inside, he's like, yeah, no, I'm fucking cripplingly depressed and anxious, and I don't want to do things because it's awful to do things. I hate everything.
Yeah. No, I prefer his other stuff. The fact that he's like, yeah, no, I'm a narcissist. That's just who I am.
I think that's the difference. Like, you like Conor McGregor. I cannot stand the man for the same reason. But weirdly, Conor McGregor's a narcissist who doesn't have a lot to back it up now.
See, like, as a person, don't get me wrong, I know that Conor McGregor is a deplorable human being. As a fighter, he is the most entertaining person that I've watched. Was a very good fighter. Was a very good fighter. He's not recently. I think that partly is because he lives in, like, Malibu in a multi-million-pound house, and his life's on fucking easy street, and that's the worst thing that can fucking happen to a fighter, because you get lazy.
Yep.
But he's entertaining. There's no other fighter in the UFC that talks shit as well as he talks shit, that you go, oh, that's actually quite funny, that he said X, Y, and Z, and he's talking shit.
It just makes it so much more rewarding when he gets his leg broken.
Yeah.
It does. Like, he is the bad guy in the film.
Yeah.
He is the bad guy.
He's the bad guy and realises that he is the bad guy and plays up to it. It was like Muhammad Ali. He was one of the best boxers to ever live, but he's idolised more than he would have been because he had a gob on him and talked a lot of shit.
I think it's just I can't talk shit. I like
Yeah.
a little bit of banter, like a toe in, is as deep as I can go.
Yeah.
Can't talk shit because, like, even like when playing board games or video games or anything competitive, I can't talk shit in case I lose because then I look like an idiot. So just don't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
It's like Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury's well known for talking shit and calling people a dosser and all sorts. It just makes it more entertaining. Where there's no one else in the UFC that talks trash and is funny with it. And that's why Conor McGregor is now worth hundreds of millions of pounds, but the rest aren't. There another guy, I can't remember what he's called. I followed him on Instagram. I think you'd actually quite like him, to be fair, as a person.
Yeah.
Because he's not, like, arrogant or talks rubbish and all this sort of stuff. And I was reading up about him. He was on the fight card with Conor McGregor, one of the fights on the main card. He took the fight in for like a week, on a week's notice. He must have got punched in the face about 100 times. He just didn't stop marching forward. I'll try and find the fight for you. Because you're watching, you're like, how is he still standing? He's just constantly getting punched in the face and just keeps on going. But he works like 80, 90 hours a week. He had a full-time job when taking this fight. So we were working like 40, 50 hours a week. Then he was training for the UFC because he thought he might get one of these fights. So that's an extra 20, 30 hours a week. And he was also training kids as well. So he was teaching kids mixed martial arts. He was doing like 80, 90 hours a week. He took this fight on like a week's notice. And it got to the last round. I think it was over 3 rounds, this fight. He got into the third round, late on in the third round, and knew that he'd lost, but it was kept marching forward, taking the blows, trying to have a fight, all that sort of stuff. It was one of the wildest fights I think I've ever seen. But I think he got a bonus for that fight because it was the performance of the night, even though he lost. I think he got like 75 grand.
Nice.
So he was able to quit his job.
There's a really good film. I forget what it's called. Fighting with the Family.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's a true story based on a small family of wrestlers over here in the UK.
I've seen it.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's a really good film.
It's about the girl that joins the WWE. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's great. Great film. Called Faith.
Yeah, I can't remember the... Was it The Rock? The Rock was in it?
The Rock's in it, yep.
Yeah, because he was promoting it.
Yep.
Was it like a family from like Birmingham or something like that?
It's got Nick Frost and Lena Healy, I want to say her name is.
Yeah.
Cersei Lannister.
Yeah.
She's the mum in it.
Yeah.
Great film. Really good film.
Because it was a brother that had the aspirations of joining the WWE, weren't it?
Yep, both of them, and then he didn't get it.
Yeah, they didn't speak for ages. But no, that was a good film. Have you ever watched the film Warrior?
Don't think so.
That's about mixed martial arts. It's got Tom Hardy in it.
Ah.
It's about two brothers. And one of them's a teacher. I can't remember what the other brother does. But basically, they both enter this like mixed martial arts competition. It's a good film. I'd say it's a good film, even if you're not into like mixed martial arts and like UFC and stuff. It's worth watching.
I'm sure I brought it up before, but Here Comes the Boom.
Here Comes the Boom is a good film.
Very good film. Really like that.
Yeah.
Sisters Act, but with mixed martial arts.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's great. Great film.
But yeah, no, I like Bob Burnham.
Yeah, I really like Inside. It shows his flaws. It shows that he's pretty fucked up. And it's not just me being like, oh yeah, the guy didn't like was actually cripplingly depressed. It's more you're seeing a human side to him as opposed to the horrible narcissistic prick that he displays.
Yeah.
But I know in like actual interviews where he's done like he directed a film or wrote a film. In all those interviews, like he's a really genuinely nice guy.
Yeah.
But his stand-up is so, I want to say, like
obnoxious.
nearly one note.
Yeah.
Like like the point he's driving home is like, yeah, I'm a prick. I'm really good at this, and I know I am, and I'm gonna get off on it. Like,
yeah, it comes across as a bit obnoxious.
Whereas in Inside, it's like he's still technically fantastic. He is a very good singer-songwriter. He is very, very smart.
Yeah.
But it's just showing a different side to it as opposed to, hey, look at me, I'm great. It's, hey, look at me in my hovel.
Yeah. Legit, for about 2 or 3 weeks after watching it, I couldn't get White Woman's Instagram out my head.
Oh, I was, Welcome to the Internet. That's the one that I go to. It's a very good song.
Yeah. And now every time I load up Instagram, it just makes me think of that song.
Yep.
Because the amount of times that I see it now on Instagram, I can't avoid it. And the one that's about Jeff Bezos.
Yep.
But that's only because it keeps going up on my TikTok, because it's a trend now, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, right, I think we'll call it there, because I'm tired and hungry.
Okay.
Oh.
Alright, well, see you in a bit.
See you next week.